Calling the June meeting of the Richland County Board to order. It's good to see your smiling faces out there. And Derek Kalish is, I don't know where he is, vacationing in the south of France or someplace. No, Derek is at the Counties Association, Clerks Association meeting, learning, and in his stead, Miranda Heggie will be handling the clerking duties. And Ms. Heggie, would you please take a roll?
Carol,
Steve's on a train.
Murphy Lopez,
Here.
Brewer,
Here.
Seep, McKee, Renish,
Here.
Luck, Manning, Stotchel,
Here.
Glassburner,
Here.
Rudersdorf, Gentis, Turk,
Here.
Cosgrove, Frank, Severson,
Present.
Williamson, Cooey,
Here.
Fleming,
Here.
Voice, McGuire. Sixteen's early.
16 present, did you
Yeah.
say? We
16,
have a quorum.
yes.
And my friend Randy Sanders is scheduled for the invocation, but I don't see him. But, okay. Please stand for the invocation. Remain standing and then turn to do the pledge. And Miss Heggie will lead us there. I'm sorry, I'm not coming up with a name for the invocation. Please introduce yourself.
I am Jan Starr, and I presently pastor at Boaz United Methodist Church.
Well, thank you.
And Randy will be. Let us pray. Father God, we thank you for this body, for each and every person that's present here. We pray that you will give each person extra wisdom, knowledge, and understanding as they go through the questions and the answers and the process. And Lord, we thank you that this body has chosen to keep you in present during this time. We thank you for the privilege of prayer. We pray that you would be a blessing to each and every one of us. And we ask all this in your precious name. Amen. Here.
Joining us tonight is Interim Administrator John Huckmer. But beside him is our new County Administrator, Mrs. Candace Pesch. She hasn't officially started yet, but this will be a good introduction for her. We have an agenda tonight. We have 25 things, but I'm going to tell you off the top that we have some cancellations. And one of them would be the the report from the Southwest Regional Planning. Troy Magid called me and asked that that be delayed a couple months. So we're delaying that, so that won't be on the agenda. And then the treatment court report is also taken off. And we're not going to have a closed session tonight. We're not going into closed session because we have not received the information necessary to talk about. So I guess that leaves us with probably a 22-point agenda. And I would appreciate a motion to bring that forward. Mr. Turk and Mr. Renish seconds. All those in favor of that motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The motion carries. The minutes of May 16th and June 14th have been published. Do we have any corrections and or additions to those minutes as published? If not, I'm going to declare them approved as published. Thank you. Now, I'm going to change the order here a little bit. We have a public comment under item 6, and I'm going to move that to follow all the zoning petition items. So number 6 will be moved down to between 9 and 10. Okay. I think that'll be appropriate because I think some of the speakers under public comment will be speaking about the item that we're going to take up under agenda item 10. So I will ask that an ordinance relating to a parcel belonging to William Milland in the town of Richwood be read. Please, Ms. Hagee, would you please?
This will be ordinance number 23-15, amendment number 575 to the Richland County Comprehensive Zoning Ordinance number 5, relating to a parcel belonging to William Milland in the town of Richwood, that the following described 5.0 acre parcel that belongs to William Milland and in the town of Richwood is hereby rezoned from general agricultural and forestry to the agricultural residential district. This ordinance shall be effective on June 20th, 2023. This ordinance was offered by the Land and Zoning Standing Committee on 5 June of 2023.
You've heard the reading. What's your pleasure? Ms. Fleming, Ms. Luck, seconds. And Melissa, do you have background for us?
I do. So this is 5 acres are being separated from the rest of the land for mortgage reasons. So the remaining land is over 35 acres and does not need to be rezoned.
Thank you. Any further questions or concerns? If not, I will ask for a vote approving the ordinance relating to the parcel belonging to William, probably Milland or Milland. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The ordinance is adopted. Thank you. Report on petitions for zoning amendments received since the last county board session. I believe
We have 2 of them, a petition from Matt Addison and Addison Farms to rezone up to 3 acres from ag forestry to commercial in section 26, town of Dayton, and a petition Joseph and Maria Ladica and Judd Realty to rezone 64.33 acres from ag forestry to ag residential in section 24, town of Westford.
thank you.
And
Yeah.
nothing has been,
Anything recommended for denial?
no, nothing.
Okay, thank you. You handled that well, well, or Michael. Thank you. Then that now takes us to number 6, public comment. And I would ask that, I think we have a mic available back there so speak into the mic. Mr. McKee, did you want to speak under public comment, or are you going to wait for the debate on the floor about,
I would prefer before any action's taken,
yes, certainly, absolutely.
so I can do it either way.
If you want to kick it off, go ahead.
Okay. I've
But
been
I have
invest-
Mr. Van Landite up there and I promised him, but you gotta be by a mic. I'm gonna hold.
Anyway, I've been investigating this issue for 3 months now.
And what issue is that? You gotta clarify that.
I call it the Roadrunner Cafe, because
Sure.
that's all I've ever known it to be. It's actually the county food services. And I came into this open-minded because I didn't really know a lot of the facts. But it was quickly evident to me that the bidding process was skewed. It wasn't bid properly. I've read the minutes of the April meeting, and nowhere in the minutes was the actual bids mentioned. Thanks to Linda, she had the actual bids that she provided for me. I think, and based on what I found, the HHS had an agenda to begin with to eliminate the Roadrunner Cafe. I did some number crunching, and the Roadrunner Cafe has revenue of right around $129,000. They provide over 21,600 meals. And they've been doing this for 30 years. The people they serve is satisfied with this. And if you figure the contribution from state and federal government, they're more than pay for their budget. They, in fact, they have excess. I did look at the federal statutes, and it appears to me that the money that they give to the county is supposed to be used to offset food costs and food preparation. In addition to that, something has come to my attention, and I'm going to air some dirty laundry here. It has been brought to my attention, and last night I had that confirmed, that a couple of the supervisors has been emailing and calling other supervisors saying that Linda Jensen is lying about this. And like I said, I had that confirmed last night. And I feel that's inappropriate. It's somewhat childish. And it puts the county in legal jeopardy, which means defamation. And I personally feel that these two board members should be at least talked to and reprimanded, and actually be removed from the committee and replaced with other board members.
I'll refer that to Corp Counsel Wendell. If you would meet with him and give him further information.
That would fall under what?
Recently passed an ethics ordinance that addresses exactly this sort of issue, and so I would recommend that you follow the procedure contained therein. I don't have it right in front of me, and I
Okay.
can't recall it off the top of my head, but we
Okay.
can speak after the meeting.
I think somebody should discuss this with the two supervisors. It puts us in legal jeopardy, and I'm not willing to accept that responsibility. And it puts the county in legal jeopardy and this board, because they're acting on behalf of the board.
Okay, thank you.
And before we go into it, I want to make a motion
Well,
before, after
yeah, in the discussion.
we
when
get into the,
It's not before the body, so you're speaking
Right.
as a public right now,
yep.
okay? Are you done? So I can call on
Yep.
Mr. Van Landite?
Mhm.
Lee Van Landite,
Thank you, Marty.
please.
Is this on?
Mhm.
Okay. Thank you very much for allowing me to speak, and I want to thank I was on the board, most of you know me. I'm on the HHS committee, Veterans Committee presently. And I was at the last meeting where we voted 6-5, where the vote went toward Mazomanie and against our local area. I was one of the 5. And there's several things I wanted to say, and I respect all their opinions in that, and also the 2 committees that reported to us with their findings. But I graduated in 1962, and the University of Wisconsin was on top of the pile. That's the year we went to the Rose Bowl. We lost, but the University of Wisconsin was up and coming. I was conscripted. I was 4 years in the Air Force, and when I got home in 68, I knew right what I wanted. And I got myself a bachelor's degree in 2 years because against my advisor's advice, and I had straight A's, and I knew just what I wanted. So I was from UW Parkside, which was a new building added to the UW system.
Wait, is that a 2-year campus?
It was a 4-year campus. It was newly 4.
Oh.
It had been when I graduated, there was a 2-year campus in Kenosha. There was a 2-year campus in Racine. And I attended the 2-year campus, and then I worked full-time. I went to Kenosha Technical Institute, become market manager.
So
So-
Lee, you've got credentials, okay?
Thank you.
So would you
And,
get to the point?
So to get to
please?
the point, I taught for 32 years. I went to the University of Milwaukee. I got a master's degree there. When my wife and I considered retiring in 1999, we had come in this area in 89, and one of the big draws for us was the university. And that's when this county, along with, the university system, was expanding the county system throughout the state and made this 2-year thing. And we had 400 or 500 students. It was great. How many of you went to the school here? Any of you? A number of you did. Okay, that's good. So you've had the experience of being here. My wife and I took classes just for fun, and we had a wonderful time. We had good professors, but over the time, things have kind of gone downhill. The last 15 or so years, they've cut and cut and cut. And right now, the legislature is in a battle with the university over curriculum, which they should have nothing to do with, but that's my thought. At any rate, we've had the women here providing meals for the seniors and also for the campus. Now, the campus, they're in the process of shutting down. I took the time to go to the community center and spoke to the people there about what was going on between Mazomanie and us. They were not in favor of Mazomanie. I went to Rockbridge and I talked to 35 people there. They also wanted to stay with what we had because of the distance, because of not knowing, because it's a for-profit group. And the only thing that I'm concerned with is the fact that we have a contract with these people until December 31st. And in April, when we first brought this up, it was new. I really never thought about it. There were too many things I did not know the background of, and I found out, and I really feel that we should probably run our commitment through December 31st and maybe take this up again in October, November, when things with the university are more settled and we know where we're going. I think this is kind of an impromptu thing that we could actually wait and really spend some time and make some plans for, because the amount of money we're spending on them is minimal, because most of this is federally mandated and they provide money for us. So much of the money that's needed is already there. So anyways, that's my suggestion, that maybe hold off, see this contract through, give each of our committees time to really deal with this. When I was on the board here, I was on the education committee, so we dealt with the food service from that angle. So we've got a lot of different fingers in the pie. We've got food service out at Pine Valley. We've got our food service. We've got the one at the hospital. There's a lot of ways that we could possibly arrange something to be done within this area without having to go outside and without having a for-profit group dealing with it. So that's all I have to say. Thank you so much for
Thank
your
you.
time.
Thank you, Lee. Now, anyone else, public comment? Please. Grab a mic, introduce yourself.
My name is Christy Thompson, and I have been to several of these committee meetings. I feel like we are not being listened to. There has been no problem with the food through the campus, and yet there's some bug about sending this contract to Dane County. It makes no sense to me. You have people who are perfectly capable of doing this and have been doing it for years. There are minimal complaints about it. From what I have been hearing, there have been some serious complaints about the food service out of Messamania. I don't know if that's true or not, but I can tell you I have worked in food service, and that if you think that you can hold food for 5 to 6 hours and it is going to be at optimal freshness and flavor and taste, you're wrong. It just does not work that way. You will end up with either some gelatinous gob of glue or something that's so dried out that you can't eat it. There have been comments made by board members, et cetera, that the county has a hard time retaining employees. Maybe it's because you're not backing the county employees like you aren't backing these people at the campus. I think you need to think really seriously about this, because no matter what, having food service at the campus adds value to that space, and it gives you more options. I think you're being short-sighted. You're not looking at what this can do for you in the future. You're just looking at the immediate, and that makes no sense. There have been too many instances where the board has looked at the immediate and not looked into the future. That's my.
Okay, thank you.
point.
Anyone else? Larry Engel.
Well, good evening. I'm Pastor Larry Engel, 5 Points, but I'm speaking to you tonight as a member of the Commission on Aging and Disability. I want to address the vote you will be taking on the Health and Human Services nutrition contract by providing you some history. I made the original motion that the nutrition contract be granted to the Meso vendor, a motion that received the majority vote of the commission, a 7-to-1 vote, which then was recommended to the Health and Human Services Committee, who voted to support the recommendation on a 6-to-5 vote. As you know, a 7-to-1 vote is a strong vote, and a 6-to-5 vote is a controversial one. The controversy is about the fact that one of the two vendors reviewed but not recommended was the county kitchen on the campus. So I made the original motion for 4 reasons. One, the vendor was unanimously recommended by staff after extensive review. We have excellent staff, deeply committed to agency mission, who explored all dimensions of the 2 proposals and then thoughtfully made the recommendation to the commission in one voice, a united voice. All the staff members agreed. Second, the commission reviewed the staff recommendation, heard the different arguments around the county kitchen, in the Mazo proposals, reviewed the recommendation in light of our mission to ensure quality nutrition services, and then called the vote. 7-1 in favor. Point 3, another major factor, but not the only one, in the decision was the uncertainty of the future of the campus and of the kitchen. It was both acknowledged and worried about throughout the process by all of us involved. The argument was made to keep the money local and support the campus. For the commission, buying local when the future of the vendor is uncertain is just that, an uncertain future both for the vendor and for the contracted service. The commission did not take our decision lightly, and the needs of the elderly and disabled and the agency mission were foremost in our minds. The recommendation before you was not an easy choice, but given the uncertainty as well as our own frustration at what's going on with the campus, the recommendation was both logical and necessary, one that ensures quality service to the elderly and disabled. In other words, the recommendation was true to the agency's mission. And finally, number 4, the point was made about retaining and recruiting county staff, how hard and challenging that is. When difficult decisions need to be made, I find it a source of wisdom to listen to the voices of those who have to implement and live with the decision, those closest to it. In this case, it's the County Health and Human Services staff who recommend the Mazo vendor. The commission and the HHS committee agree. In a democratic process, that's 3 recommendations for the same vendor, each thoughtfully presented with majority votes. In these trying and decisive times, that process itself carries great wisdom. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else under public comments? Bob? My friend Bob Bellman?
I think, son,
Yeah, introduce yourself, Bob, so make sure everyone knows who you are.
seems to me we're going to be shooting ourselves in the foot with this decision if it's made tonight in a negative way towards the current supplier. We have a contract till December 31st. Pastor, you alluded to a lot of uncertainty. Well, yeah, there's a lot of uncertainty. There's been uncertainty. But at the same time, we won't get it back is one problem. We won't get it back if it goes. And it'll cost us more money, I believe, a lot more money from Mazo if it is switched. I liked what you said. People are happy with what they have, and it's going to be hard to please people with this, and you've done a good job pleasing people. I just think it's a mistake, a bad mistake if we move it. Let's keep it where it's at. Let's see how it plays out. Give us a chance. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, Marty, one more thing.
Okay.
I haven't seen one set of financial figures from anybody. It's very frustrating. I mean, I feel strongly that they're not telling us, they don't know. I don't know where the pursuit of this came from, but I think that's a mistake too. We need some figures. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Okay, that takes us then to item number 10 on our agenda. And Ms. Heggie, would you please read the resolution?
This would be resolution number 23-59. A resolution approving a provider contract for the 2023 for the Health and Human Services Department. Now therefore be it resolved by the Richland County Board of Supervisors that approval is hereby granted for the Health and Human Services Board to enter into the following 2023 contracts with Mazo Catering of Mazomanie for $76,800 to provide the Senior Nutrition Program meals that will be delivered to the Richland Center, Rockbridge, and potentially the Germantown meal sites. And be it further resolved that the Health and Human Services Board is hereby authorized to amend any of the above contracts by not more than 15%. And be it further resolved that the Director of the Health and Human Services Department, Ms. Tricia Clements, is hereby authorized to sign the above contracts on behalf of Richland County in accordance with this resolution. And this resolution was offered by the county board members of the Health and Human Services and Veterans Standing Committee on 9 June of 2023.
Thank you, Ms. Hagee, and you've heard the resolution. What's your pleasure? Danielle Ruddersdorf makes a motion to bring it forward, seconded by Melissa Luck. All those in favor of bringing the motion forward signify by saying no. I'm getting ahead of myself. Discussion. We've got it. It's before the body. Let's talk about it.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
I would like to make a motion. Can I do that?
Well, I think you can, but why don't we talk about the original motion first? I don't know. Go ahead and make an motion or an amendment.
Okay, I would like to make a motion that the bids be thrown out and that the Roadrunner Cafe is allowed to continue on their current contract and through 2024. They have a contingency plan and that HHS provide all the support, both financial and internal support for the Roadrunner. And for further information, the Roadrunner has been in the black for several years.
Okay, you've heard a motion. Do we have a second to
No,
that?
Mr. Chair, that motion would be out of order.
It's out of order?
That would be out of order.
It's not making an amendment?
No,
Okay.
to eliminate the current bid on the floor, all you would have to do is vote no to the current motion. And as for extending the contract through the next year, that would need to be an agenda item of its own.
Right? Okay, thank you. So I guess you're out of order, Richard, right now, but hang on. Yes, Ms. Boyce.
I've been thinking long and hard about how to vote on this and wavered back and forth. Wanted to know how this got started in the first place. Was it because their previous administrator wanted to privatize everything, as he told me when we went out to lunch one day? Or was it because of the fear that the campus is closing, that this was going to be affecting the food service? Instead of talking to the food service people, from what I was told, they were never even contacted. So nobody knew what the situation was, and we went ahead and got bids from, and Mazo was the one that was accepted at this bid. One person said to me that the bidding situation was kind of sleazy. Actually, I heard the word sleazy several times in regard to the bidding. And from what I heard, although food service was less costly, the committee decided to give it to Mazo just in case the food service would close. No one bothered to check with food service if there was a plan in place. I was even told that Linda lied about the figures. And Linda, who's probably knows more about this than any of us because she's worked so diligently on it. Did anybody on that committee bother to find out if the food service was being creative and it was possibly going to be, they were working in the black now since the first of the year. Did anybody talk to them about their plans and how they would continue being in the black? Hopefully, does Mazo have a backup plan? Our tax dollars are going to be going out of the county. Does this make sense when we have told people over and over and over again that we don't have any money, and yet we're going to send this money out of the county? The comments that I've gotten have been mostly negative. I know a lot of people sent emails and letters to this committee. Do we just ignore what they have to say? Here are several comments that I've received. The board said this past year that we don't have any money. So instead we send our tax dollars to another county. Why is this being done now? Doesn't the food service contract go until December? This makes me feel just like I felt when UW closed our campus, like I was kicked in the stomach. I think there's something else going on. Follow the money. And again, this just feels sleazy to me. The perception is that people making decisions are not taking into account the voters or taxpayers' opinions. The perception that this committee has given the community is that the almighty dollar is more important than taxpayers, more important than the people. Yes, the almighty dollar is important. So why give the bid to a company that's charging more than the food service is charging at present? We represent the people, and I capitalize that word, the people of this county. So we have to not only think of the dollar, but we have to have some empathy with how they're feeling. So I ask you all to seriously think of the ramifications of voting to end the food service in Richland County. Once it's gone, it's gone. That food service has served hundreds of meals to our senior citizens at a very kind rate, and I haven't heard too many complaints. They're making every effort to confront the problems, both from the past and for the future. Think about the citizens using the meal sites now. They pay and paid taxes to Richland County. Why do we want to send their money out of the county? And last, in the county magazine that we all get, the June 2023 magazine, Ann Katz, who's a director of Create Wisconsin, said, it's a good strategy for county governments to invest in their creative economy to generate jobs, enhance revenue and civic engagement, and improve the quality of life for residents. I think that's what we have to think about whether or not we're going to be doing. Thank you.
Okay, anyone else? Comments? Mr. Turk?
We've had a lot of people calling into question motives and things like that. I think we should give HHS folks a chance to explain to all of us so we can hear their side of the story.
We will.
Thank you.
And Trish Clements of HHS is here before us.
So thank you for the opportunity to speak. Richland County Health and Human Services has a statutory obligation to have a senior nutrition program. The program provides meals to those over the age of 60 through the home delivered meal program and through our congregate program.
Get closer to the mic.
Okay, sorry about that. We provide about 2,000 meals a month to the 3 different sites and to those who receive home delivered meals. In 2023, we've provided meals to 210 different people. I'm asking that you approve the contract to Mazo Catering. This has been a really difficult decision, and there's been lots and lots of discussions. This started last summer when Clint was still here, and we had a meeting with Pine Valley, with the Richland County Food Service, with HHS, to talk about what is the future going to look like due to the instability of the campus. At that time, we made no changes, but when the campus was announced that it was closing, we started having a lot more discussions about how do we ensure that we're complying with our statutory obligation to provide meals and ensure that, you know, we are in compliance to continue the contracts and continue our mandate. When I started, my very first day on the job, I came to finance and personnel meeting, and there was a lot of discussion about the budget of the county, the outlook of the county, where things are at, where things are going. Throughout this process of the referendum discussion, I was given a request or a mandate to cut $1 million. Through all of that, I, in the end, have to cut 5 positions from my budget. And even with the cuts that we have to make, it's my understanding that we still don't have enough funds to be fiscally sound come 2027 or 2028. Through looking at the AS400, which is the record keeping, the financial record keeping system, the campus loses money almost every single year. It's an average of about $40,000 that the county has to provide to supplement their budget. That was a part of my decision to look to other vendors, because I think there's a good likelihood that at some point in time, the campus food service, the Richland County Food Service will be shut down. I can't be left in a pinch where I don't have a provider. And so that's where we started looking at this with the RFP process and looking at the different options and eventually choosing Mazo Catering. They are a quarter more expensive than what the bid was for the campus, but there are other savings that we will be able to recoup to manage our budget. We're also currently paying, it's 6.25 per meal with the campus, and there's about an extra 9 cents that we're paying them per meal for storage containers, which I know that's gonna cut down on because of the carryout and the milk cost. So there's a milk differential that we've been paying. And so we do have it in our budget for this year to be able to continue to come in and have our budget be where it should be.
Mr. McKee, did you have a question for Trish Clemens?
Yes, are those containers and everything part of the Roadrunner budget?
So the containers for the carryout, that is not, I guess I don't know. That's something that when I started and I found out in about February that we were paying for that, that's something I didn't know, that we were paying for the carryout and we were paying for the milk differential. The contract says they will provide all components of the meal. So the carryout, I don't know for sure, but the milk should have been part of what the Richland County Food Service was covering.
Okay, so you don't know whether it's part of their budget or not?
Like if they have it budgeted to buy those?
Yeah, like the containers.
I'm assuming they don't have that in the budget because they're billing us and we're paying them for those containers, for the
But it's
carryout.
part of their budget. Even if they're billing you, it's part of their budget.
I guess I don't know. Yeah.
I would think you should know that.
There's a lot of things that I have found that have just happened year after year after year, kind of like the milk. It's in the contract that they're going to provide the milk, but we pay the differential for a gallon of milk versus a carton of milk. And that's not written anywhere. It's just something that has happened. And so these are things that I have been learning within the year that I've been here.
And another thing, you said it was costing HHS $40,000
No.
in addition?
The Richland County Food Service loses about 40,000 a year. So their revenues are about 40,000 less than their expenditures on average. And I've only gotten data back from 2018.
How come they've been in the black for the last few years?
And so were the 2008.
This year.
In January.
Here, speak to the chair if you're gonna.
So based on the information that was provided to the Education Committee last week, their revenues are short of what their expenditures are.
And I got another question. How come the actual bids were not part of the minutes of the April 5th meeting and was not disclosed?
Corp Counsel Wendell has a comment.
So there was an error wherein the request for proposal bids were opened prior to the April meeting. I was contacted by at least one supervisor as well as Ms. Clemens, and upon my advice, I stated it was probably in everyone's best interest if we just redo the process. So the reason it wasn't discussed in April is because those bids were essentially tossed on my advice, and then the actual vote, I believe, was taken in this most recent June meeting. So that's why it's not reflected in the April minutes.
But actually, they took action in April.
They may have, but then on my advice, that action was revoked.
It just appears to me that they didn't want the public to know what the actual bids were.
You're gonna talk to him after the meeting about that, Richard, but your observation is yours. Anyone else?
Mr. Chair, I have a question.
Yes.
This is it says the resolution is for 2023 and for 76,800. So obviously this is 2023. So what time frame is this resolution covering?
July 1st through December 31st this year, 2023.
So the other contract would be canceled at that point if this is approved?
I provided notice to the Richland County Food Service back in April, giving them their 60-day notice. So at that time, the first improperly done RFP process was for Mazo Catering. We did realize we made mistakes. I worked with Attorney Wendell to fix those. But even if Richland County Food Service would have been picked, it would have been a new contract that needed to be done because they gave a different bid. So Either way, I would have had to cancel the contract with Richland to get a new contract come July 1st. So as of July 1st, I do not have a contract with anyone to provide food service.
Mr. McKee?
Yes, it's my understanding that the Roadrunner has a contract through the end of the year, so are you just gonna nullify that contract?
I gave them a notice in April that I would be nullifying that contract. That is correct. Our contract,
So how does that appear to the county if we don't abide by our own contracts?
our contracts are set up that they can, either party can give a 30-day notice to end the contracts. GWAR, who oversees the nutrition program, has the mandate that we give a 60-day notice, so I did give at least a 60-day notice to end the contract. And we end lots of contracts. There are contracts we have with outside providers that something changes and we do end contracts. That is part of, the county needs to have that ability to end contracts.
Okay, thank you for that explanation. Mr. Renish?
I only see one issue here, and I said this at the HHS meeting, and you reaffirmed it when your statement in the beginning saying that we couldn't go into closed session because we'd got no more information from the campus. We, in this point of business, are only referencing the people that are in need of the meals, not all the constituents. And the only way we can truly guarantee those meals is to provide this contract to Mesa. That's it. That's the only choice you have.
Okay. Yes, Zuckerman.
Now is it on?
Yes. Yes, we can hear you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to make my comments known here. I was out on campus shortly after I started with the county in mid-April, so I had the opportunity to talk to both Stephanie and Cindy out there. I've had a lot of interaction with Trish since I've started here, and her job really is twofold. One is she has to be responsible to the county as far as the budget, and secondly, she has to be an advocate for those people that she serves at all different levels. Here we're talking more about the seniors and the nutrition meals, but it's for the youth in our communities. It's for those that have mental health, those that are in out of county placements, those types of things. I can tell you that my interaction with Trish Clements, that this was not a decision that was made hastily. It was well thought out, and she's doing it because she feels that it's best for the people that we serve. I also wanted to make a comment that when I first went out to campus, at that time, we were serving 4 to 7 students, is what I was told the day, Monday through Friday. There are no students out there anymore. They've been gone since the first of the month. So that revenue, even though it was a little bit, that revenue is no longer there. And then I was out back on campus again today, and I'm just looking at the number of meals, and this is the numbers that Cindy provided me today. So I trust that they're accurate. So the total, this includes the frozen meals, the congregate meals, Richland Center meals, and the Rockbridge area. In the month of February, it's 1,413 meals. In the month of March was the highest, was 1,992 meals. In April, 1,605 meals, and in May, 1,544 meals. I can tell you that there is no way that with that number of meals, that's less than 20,000 a year, a 4-month average of 6,554 meals. With that limited number of meals, there is no way that the Roadrunner Cafe can be in the black moving forward. So I think we need to keep that in mind. And again, I want to stress that I know that this decision was not made lightly, and there's been a lot of debate on that. So I thank you for allowing me to make my comments.
Thank you. I don't think so.
We didn't provide them any information to come to the meeting tonight.
So, we're gonna take a vote on the resolution as stated. I'll call a roll call because I think it will be vital in the final analysis. So, did someone make a comment online? Sean, maybe? No? Okay, take a roll call vote on the resolution to,
Clarify the yes or no.
yes, we're gonna take a vote on the resolution to grant a contract to the Mazo. I'm not sure what the name of it is officially. But, so yes means we give them the contract, no means we don't. Very simple. And is it a vote on the longevity of the Roadrunner Cafe? Perhaps. But that's not what we're voting on. We're voting on a contract for providing food to the nutrition program. All right, Ms. Heggie, please call a roll call vote.
Luck,
Yes.
Manning, Gotchall,
Yes.
Glassburner,
Yes.
Rudersdorf,
Yes.
Gentis,
Yes.
Turk,
Aye.
Cosgrove, Frank, Severson,
Yes.
Williamson, Cooey,
Yes.
Fleming,
Yes.
Voice,
No.
McGuire, Caro, Murphy Lopez,
No.
Brewer,
Yes.
Deep, McKee,
No.
Renish.
Yes.
Do you have the final count, Miranda?
We have 13 yeses and 3 nos.
And the motion carries. Thank you. All right. Mr. McKee, I don't want you to feel that we're running roughshod over you, and I want you to be sure to talk to Attorney Wendell. If you want me there, I'll be there, okay?
Okay.
Number 11, a resolution relating to canceling Stale County checks. Ms. Hagee.
This will be resolution number 23-60. Now therefore it be resolved by the Richland County Board of Supervisors that the following county checks drawn on the Richland County Bank are hereby canceled. Please see the list below. That's quite long. This resolution was offered by the Finance and Personnel Standing Committee on 7 June of 2023.
Okay, you've heard the resolution. Do I have a motion to bring it forward? Mr. Gotcha? Second by Mr. Turk. This is something we do every year. A lot of these are fair premiums. So we put this money back in the general account. All those in favor of this resolution signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The resolution is adopted. Number 12, a resolution relating to canceling stale tax certificate for the tax year 2010 and making an appropriation. Ms. Heggie.
This will be resolution number 23-61. Now therefore be it resolved by the Richland County Board of Supervisors that approval is hereby granted for canceling the following tax certificates for the tax year 2010. Please see the list below. Be it further resolved that $221.20 is hereby appropriated for the general fund to the canceled tax certificates account in the 2023 county budget. And be it further resolved that this resolution shall be effective immediately upon its passage and publication. This resolution was offered by the Finance and Personnel Standing Committee on 7 June of 2023.
Thank you. Do you have a wish out there? Shall we bring this forward? Thank you, Ms. Fleming. Thank you, Mr. Renish, for seconding. This is something we do all the time too, year after year. We go back and take care of the stale ones. This is brought forward by our county treasurer, Mr. Even. All those in favor of this resolution signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The resolution is adopted. Number 13, a resolution approving the emergency purchase and installation of a hot water heater at the Richland County Fairgrounds. Ms. Hagee.
This will be resolution number 23-62. Now therefore be it resolved by the Richland County Board of Supervisors that approval is hereby granted for the purchase of a hot water heater and installation at the fairgrounds. And be it further resolved that the quote received from Wertz Plumbing and Heating in the amount of $9,229 is accepted, and the contract for this project to be signed by Carla Doudna, Fair and Recycling Coordinator on behalf of Richland County, and the cost to be paid out of Fund 11 Contingency Fund. And be it further resolved that the resolution shall be effective immediately upon its passage and publication. This resolution is offered by the Finance and Personnel Standing Committee, 7 June of 2023.
You've heard the resolution. What's your pleasure?
Mr. Chairman, for approval.
Thank you, Mr. Seep, second by Mr. Gotchel. And it's pretty important, wasn't it, Carla? Got to have hot water out there. Yeah. When you're washing those calves. Okay, Mr. McKee?
I take it this isn't your standard hot water heater. It's probably an industrial one.
I think it's in
For
of the industrial
$9,000.
vent, yeah. High capacity. Okay, and it went out, so we had to do something. County owns a lot of property, gotta maintain it. All those in favor of this resolution signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The resolution is adopted. We have hot water. A resolution relating to the position of Richland County Fair and Recycling Coordinator, Ms. Hagee.
This will be resolution number 23-63. Now therefore be it resolved by the Richland County Board of Supervisors that approval is hereby granted for the Richland County Fair and Recycling Coordinator position to be changed to 40 hours per week as stated above. Be it further resolved that this resolution shall supersede all previous resolutions pertaining to this position and be effective July 2nd, 2023. This resolution was offered by the Finance and Personnel Standing Committee on 7 June of 2023.
You've heard the resolution. What's your pleasure? Mrs. Rudersdorf brings it forward, seconded by Julie Fleming. And I will ask for Interim Administrator Holcomer to comment, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Basically what this resolution is to just clean up something what was already in practice and in place. So since 2015, actually going back to 2011, the county board passed a resolution saying that the individual in this position would work 80% of 35 hours, which is 28 hours per week. But at least going back to 2015, the individual was directed by the committee and by prior county board chairs to work 40 plus hours in an average. So we felt that it was really necessary that we clean this position up, make it a full-time position, because especially, I'll add with that, especially with adding some of the park duties to the position, before we take a look and consider any other changes. for that department. So it's, again, it's really just cleaning up and making it a full-time position, which the position has been, but not allocated at 40 hours a week since 2015. So the 28 hours a week was coming out of salary. The remainder of the pay was coming out from other lines within the budget, including overtime. So this resolution has my support. It has the support of the Fair Committee and Finance and Personnel Committee, and we urge you to support the resolution.
Thank you. Everyone know what we're doing here? Okay. Yes, sir, Mr. Seep.
Yes, Mr. O'Connor, is this no longer a salaried position?
This would be a salaried position and a department head position, which it always was, but not at 40 hours a week. Not technically, it wasn't 40 hours a week because the county board never approved allocating it to a full-time 40-hour-a-week position. This is cleaning that up, and we believe that there's enough justification, certainly, to make it a 40-hour-a-week department head position.
So what is the financial impact?
The impact will not change because she was getting paid for 40 hours before. She'll still be getting paid for 40 hours, but by you taking action to approve it this evening, it becomes a 40-hour position rather than 28 hours, and then the remainder of that getting paid out of other lines within the budget.
That's very helpful, Mr. O'Connor. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Ms. Dentis.
I like the fair and all that. I just want to know the background because last year with all those resolutions put out, the fair was supposed to also start making its own money. And I was just wondering about the finances on that, going to a full-time position. I'm just curious in that since I'm not on those committees.
Well, that is a good question. Can anyone here address that? I see Carla heading for a mic, so perhaps she can. Carla Dowdna.
So Supervisor Gentis, the position was always budgeted for more than the 28 hours per week. So it's usually worked into the budget that we cover those extra hours that the position required. So we're just like interim, the interim administrator spoke about, we're just trying to clean all of that up as we transition forward into changing the department and merging the parks into it. Does that kind of answer your question?
Well, I think if I may, Linda, I think what she was getting at is how you doing on making the fair self-sufficient?
Without using county tax levies, what she's getting.
We're working on it. There are a few things that we have to do in order to move forward. And until we get to that point of sitting down and looking at the budget and how all of that is going to be merged together and where those funds are going to be coming from, whether it's parks and trails or the fairgrounds and recycling. So we're still working on that, but it's moving forward, yes. So we will get to that point by budget time.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I would just add comments that this situation is really the chicken or the egg. It's very difficult for the fair to get, and for Carla to get additional events when she is the only person that's working out there. So there's been discussion at the committee level about creating a new position that would be within the budget to bring some of those other events out there. I guess that's all I can really say right now is there's not enough staff time to work on bringing those other events with everything else that's going on between the fair, recycling, and now adding the additional responsibilities of parks to that department. So it's certainly something that Candace and Carla and others will be talking about, the committee will be talking about throughout the budget process.
Okay. Right now, we just want to, for budgeting purposes, recognize the 40 hours. So all those in favor of this resolution changing this position from 28 to 40, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The resolution is adopted. Number 15, a resolution reclassifying a position in the county maintenance department. Ms. Heggie.
This will be resolution number 23-64. Now therefore be it resolved by the Richland County Board of Supervisors that approval is hereby granted for the above listed position to start at step 2 in the amount of $17.15 and following a 6-month probationary period, advance to step 3. I'm sorry. To step 3 in the amount of $17.97, and be it further resolved by the Richland County Board of Supervisors that the job description for the position of custodian in the county maintenance department will be on file in the county administrator's office, and be it further resolved that this resolution shall be effective July 2nd, 2023. This resolution was offered by the Finance and Personnel Standing Committee on 7 June of 2023.
Thank you. You've heard the resolution. Mr. Rennish, do we have a second? Mr. Turt? Mr. Holcomer?
Yes, this is part of the restructuring that has been done within the maintenance department. So Carlson Detman did a wage classification of the positions within that department. This is the custodian position as we knew it before, with a few duties that were taken out of the job description. For example, watering the flowers outside the courthouse and so forth. So it's just really, it's taking a look at that custodian position and reclassifying it, and with the steps, step 2 and step 3 that's outlined in the resolution. So it's formalizing what we have been talking about for several months.
Okay. All those in favor of this resolution signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The resolution is adopted. Takes us to number 16, then, a resolution creating a position in the county maintenance department. Ms. Hagee?
This would be resolution number 23-65. Now therefore be it resolved by the Richland County Board of Supervisors that approval is hereby granted for the above listed position to start at step 2 in the amount of $21.35, and following a 6-month probationary period, advance to step 3 in the amount of $21.83. Be it further resolved by the Richland County Board of Supervisors that the job description for the position of maintenance technician in the county maintenance department will be on file in the county administrator's office. Be it further resolved that this resolution shall be effective July 2nd, 2023. This resolution was offered by the Finance and Personnel Standing Committee 7 June of 2023.
You've heard the resolution. What's your pleasure? Ms. Glasbrenner makes the motion, seconded by Ms. Fleming. Mr. Holcomer, maybe you can shed some light on this one.
Yes, again, this is part of the restructuring of the maintenance department. So what we're doing here is we're taking a position that was solely at the Health and Human Services building, or the Community Services building, and we're allowing that position. So because that was being funded through the Human Services Department and being reimbursed by the state of Wisconsin. So we're taking a portion of Randy's salary and of the custodian and of this maintenance technician, a percentage of their salaries that will equal one full-time benefited position. And that will allow us to continue to get reimbursement from the state of Wisconsin from those 3 employees that now will be working not only in one facility, but they'll be working in the courthouse and the community services building as well. So it makes a lot of sense, but we wanted to make sure that we structured it in a way that we could continue to receive that reimbursement from the state of Wisconsin.
Thank you. This does make sense. Do you have any further questions? All those in favor of this resolution signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The resolution is adopted. Number 17, a resolution making amendments to the county classification, compensation, and staff authorization policy. Ms. Hagee.
This will be would be resolution number 23-66. Now therefore be it resolved by the Richland County Board of Supervisors that the county classification, compensation, and staff authorization policy are hereby amended by adopting the attached Richland County Staff Authorization Table, and be it further resolved that this resolution shall be effective July 2nd, 2023. This resolution was offered by the Finance and Personnel Standing Committee on 7 June of 2023.
You've heard the resolution. What's your pleasure? Ms. Luck makes the motion, seconded by Ms. Fleming. This is putting it in our manual, basically, no?
It would be ratifying the actions of the prior two resolutions you just approved into the document.
So all those in favor of this resolution signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The resolution is adopted. A resolution approving Richland County MIS to enter into a contract with SGTS for Richland County Courthouse and jail security upgrades for a total cost of $316,215.82. Ms. Heggie.
This would be resolution number 23-67. Now therefore be it resolved by the Richland County Board of Supervisors that approval is hereby granted for the Richland County MIS Department to enter into a contract with SGTS for upgraded courthouse and jail security systems. And be it further resolved that funds to carry out this resolution shall come from the long-term borrowing for the radio tower project, and approval is hereby granted for the MIS director to sign the purchase agreement for these services. And be it further resolved that this resolution shall be effective upon its passage and publication. This resolution was offered by the Public Safety Standing Committee on 2 June 2023.
You've heard the resolution with Ms. Luck, seconded by Ms. Fleming. Barb, did you want to speak to this or not?
I just wanted to mention, this is a part of our radio tower project. The funds for this are within the $8.1 million that you borrowed. And it is coming in at $36,000 under budget with that piece of the project.
Okay, this is actually part of the radio tower project, so. All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The resolution is adopted. We do not have anything to discuss in closed session. Do we have any appointments? Interim Administrator Holcomer.
Yes, we have one appointment this evening. I'll provide you the background information. The county is required to have a public health officer, and we were notified by the state of Wisconsin that they have reviewed the resume of Brandy Anderson and determined that she meets the requirements necessary to be the health officer for the county. And so legally, what we need to do is once that appointment is made and confirmed by the county board, then we need to provide the minutes showing the action of the county board to accept her as the officer. So just a little information on Brandy. She has a Bachelor in Science in Nursing from Viterbo University. She's been a registered nurse since July of 2008. She has been a nurse for Richland County Human Services Department since September of 2016, either as a public health nurse or as a psychiatric nurse in the behavioral health unit. And she's also been serving as the interim public health officer since January of this year. So I would ask for your confirmation of the county administrator's appointment of Brandy Anderson as the public health officer for Richland County.
Ingrid Glassbender moves and seconded by Ms. Boyce. All those in favor of making Brandy Anderson the public health nurse for Richland County, signify by saying, officially making her that, by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Good, the minutes will show that. Do you have a report for us?
I do have a report for you. If you look on your iPads, it's on pages 40 and 41 if you haven't seen it. I know last month some supervisors asked me questions, so I want to hit just a couple of the points here. I continue to have meetings with County Board supervisors, and that will happen again. Another appointment that I have for later this week. The Finance and Personnel Committee has been extremely busy, mainly due to the fact that we were doing the recruitment for the next county administrator. And we are all happy that that process has come to an end, and Ms. Pesh will be starting with the county very soon. There was a special meeting last week, June 14th, where the county board met to appoint Candace as to fill the vacancy in the county administrator's position. I know she is very excited to start. She was in the county today, as you can see, and has an apartment, signed a contract for that, for her lease. She was in the county last week, so she's certainly doing her due diligence and getting up to speed as quickly as she could. She is very excited to be here, and I have full confidence in her abilities. So we're really looking forward to having Candace here with us. Human Resources Director, we've been advertising, we continue to get some resumes, very few, but to date, we have not received any applicants that are qualified to fill the director's role. And we felt that it was important now with Candace being here as the new administrator and having a strong HR background, that she weigh into what that department looked like and what the recruitment looks moving forward. So we will be having those conversations as time goes on here. I wrote quite a bit in here about the UW Extension move to the Community Services Building and to Melville Hall. So the two county staff that work for Extension are now located in the Community Services Building on a temporary basis. There was some equipment that was ordered for technology to allow Extension to work out of Melville Hall. And that was really in our conversations with the UW system, that they really wanted to have a presence at Melville Hall and on campus. So that's why the move is out to Melville Hall, and the state, the UW system, is picking up the expenses for that technology. However, another big part of what we did is with county staff, with Randy Nelson and 4 individuals from the County Highway Department, because they work 10-hour shifts. They don't work on Fridays. So we had 4 individuals that came in a couple of times and helped move. It was county staff that moved everything out of the East Hall building, which we had to be out by last week, Thursday. It was either things were put in the dumpster, that Extension determined that it could be discarded, or things were moved to the Community Services Building on a temporary basis, and the rest was moved to Melville Hall. And we did that with county staff over and above what their additional or what their regular duties are. And I can't thank those employees enough for the hard work that they did. As we had reached out to a local mover, and he indicated the move was too large for him to do. So again, we did it over about a 2.5-week time period, and it worked out pretty well. We continue to have issues with filling vacancies in the zoning department. So one of the things that we did is Cheryl, who works in the county administrator's office, is now working 8 hours a week. We're still doing it from the county administrator's office, but she has access to the files that she needs for the zoning office. So 8 hours a week of her time right now is dedicated to help Mike Bindle out in the zoning office. And so far that's been working pretty well. The budget process, we're already in conversations about the budget. We will be meeting with the Finance and Personnel Committee this Friday to talk about the capital improvement budget. We plan on presenting the capital improvement budget to the county board in July. And we will continue to work with the Finance and Personnel Committee and ultimately the county board on the budget. I have a whole list of other meetings, of other activities that I've been involved in since last month. I will allow you to read through that. I just wanted to, I wrote this before I had the next thing I'm going to talk about, is employee recruitment and retention. And I'm just gonna read what I wrote here. It says, Richland County is not alone in the struggle to hire and keep employees. The pool of available applicants is much smaller and continues to shrink throughout the nation. This is even more of a problem for us in the public sector to try and find employees. In my opinion, one of the top priorities for Richland County Board, Ms. Pesch, the department heads, is to have a meaningful discussion and action on how we compensate, provide benefits, show appreciation, and seek input from county employees. Recruitment is costly and it takes an enormous amount of time for our departments. Losing quality employees to other employers means that we also lose their wealth of institutional knowledge. I can't stress how important that is, that we make sure that we take care of the employees that we currently have in place. And then since that, I got some information last week, Monday, and this was pretty, I would say pretty alarming to me. Since the beginning of this year, January of 2023 through last week, Tuesday, we had 52 employees leave employment with the county. That's roughly 10% of our workforce has left since the beginning of the year. 86% of them have been here for less than 5 years. So it's a relatively new employees that are leaving. I'll give you a couple more percentages here and then I'll stop. 38% of the employees that left, 38% of those 52 employees that left were here less than a year. 13% were here between 1 and 2 years, 10% 2 to 3 years, and 13% 3 to 4 years, and another 10% that were here between 4 and 5 years. So again, 86% of the employees that left this year have been here for less than 5 years. Of those, about half, I said 52 employees, 27 were full-time, 1 was part-time, another one was 24 were temp casual. Not surprising here, most of the turnover has been at Pine Valley, followed pretty equally by the courthouse, Health and Human Services, and the Simon Center. So I wanted to point that out to you, that I think as we work through the budget process, we really need to take a look how we take care of our most valuable assets that we have, are the employees. 2 additional things that I wanted to mention. Derek asked me, included in your packet is also the information for the WCA annual conference. So if any of you are planning on attending that conference, we need to get those registrations in as quickly as we possibly could. And then some really good news that came out of the state of Wisconsin today, that we haven't heard this kind of news in a long time when it comes to local units of government. And that is that the governor signed the new shared revenue bill today. So last year, or this year, I should say, in 2023, Richland County is receiving $1,172,389. We will receive a 68.5% increase to that. So the numbers for Richland County that we will see shared revenue increase in 2024 is $803,049. So that is great news that's coming out of the state of Wisconsin. And if the governor also passes other things that are in the budget, it'll be another significant increase for general transportation aids for the county as well. And with that, Mr. Chairman, if there are any questions, I'd be happy to respond.
Anyone? Questions for John? Yes, Mr. McKee.
The reason for the vacancies, is it because we're not paying fair market value?
Pay is definitely one of the 2 major issues. Pay is one, and then there's also, there are a lot of conversations, a lot of frustrations about the fact that there are 2 pay plans for the county, and neither one of the pay plans are really being followed. I see that as a significant problem for the county, and you're going to have to determine whether you're going to do another compensation plan or not. And if you do, but you don't plan on implementing it, then it would be a total waste of money. So, that is something, again, I think that the board will have to consider whether you want to do that or not.
Thank you. Anyone else? I want to thank all of you for your participation in the help and the selection of our new administrator. And I know many of you, not only on the Finance and Personnel Committee, but also in the meet and greet. I thought that was a pretty neat process. I liked it. I want to thank John and his company. What is the name of it again, John?
PAA, Public Administration Associates.
Public Administration Associates just did a cracker job for us, and I do appreciate it. So, without further ado, I'll let Mr. McGuire make the motion. Go ahead.
This is, it was in your last report, and Mr. Bindle's son has an amazing accomplishment a week ago at the state of Wisconsin trap shoot. He did something that's extremely rare. He shot 100 out of 100. It rarely ever happens, and he's only a junior in high school. And the top 500 shooters only get into this level if they maintain about a 90 out of 100 average. So he beat out some very good competition. It's an amazing accomplishment, and I think if no one else, I'll say something to him about it. It was,
Well, I had no idea. Thank you. But what I was looking for actually was a motion to,
you were looking for me to make a motion to adjourn?
yes,
I will do so.
okay.
I haven't said a word all night.
Second by Ms. Fleming. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, we are adjourned. Mr. McKee, if you